Good evening.
Good evening, everyone, those in attendance and those who are joining us online. Tom.
I hear. Can we hear me?
Yeah, I hear me.
Good. All right.
Welcome to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board meeting for Thursday, August 20th. We'll call today's meeting to order and take roll. I will notice that Esteban is not with us today, and Mr. Shannon not with us. Otherwise, everyone else is here. Next item of today's meeting is rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For those folks who are joining us digitally this evening, you are all disabled, and I guess you'll raise your hand, and our capable assistant, Thomas, will ring you in as appropriate.
Yes.
The next item on tonight's meeting is approval of the meeting agenda, which is in front of everybody, and I might make a suggestion to take the item of new business for our Alpharetta softball and move that up to before committee reports, if everybody's okay with that, since we'll respect the time of our guests here this evening.
So you want to make the motion?
Yeah, I'd like a motion if somebody would.
Motion to move the Alpharetta softball new business before committee.
Okay, motion by Joey.
Second.
Second by Jason. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Next item in front of us is the approval of the minutes from the July 16th meeting. Tom is prepared and shared with everybody. If you've had a chance to look at them, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from last month's meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
A motion by Mr. Alberici. Right. A second by Mr. Kazanza. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Next item on tonight's agenda is public comment. Public comment is a time for citizens to share information with the Parks and Rec Board and to provide input and opinions for any matter that is not scheduled for its own hearing during today's meeting. Thomas, any public comment for tonight's meeting?
Mr. Chairman, there is no public comment at this time.
Okay. Thank you. Then the next order of business will be new business for Alpharetta softball. I would invite up our speakers and ask that you introduce yourself and give us your street address as well, and we'll welcome to hear from you.
I would like to introduce my teammate, Kelly Johnson, here with me for support. Kelly is a resident of Alpharetta, and she's also my birthday twin. Hi. As you may already know, this presentation was originally written for the city of Alpharetta, so it was geared more towards what I was asking them to do. Oh, yeah. 13300 Morris Road.
Mine's 505 Guildhall Place.
Great, thank you.
Start over. Okay. As you may already know, this presentation was originally written for the city of Alpharetta, so it was geared more towards what I was asking them to do now to help while there is no MOU. You may not be aware that Alpharetta has a rule that their travel teams need to be at least 50% Alpharetta residents. Before the MOU expired, Milton residents counted towards the percentage, but now they do not. I'm going to start off the same in the beginning so you know a little about my team and where this is coming from. And then I'll just summarize some of the last slides and talk about how the City of Milton can help.
In case you don't know, when you hear us refer to FIRE, that is the name of the softball travel organization that plays out of North Park under Alpharetta Youth Softball Association, Alpharetta FIRE. Each team is formed by birth year, so our team, for example, Alpharetta FIRE 07, is a team of girls born 2007.
Never mind. My name is Mackenzie Alizoda. I'm 13 years old, and I'm a teammate on the Alpharetta 07 Fire. I have played a total of 20 AYSA seasons, and I'm a Milton resident, and I am zoned for Alpharetta High School. See that photo at the top? That's me when my mom was pregnant by Field 4. And there I am at 1 year old cheering on my mom, who's playing in the Wish for Wendy tournament at North Park. Then here I am at 5 years old, my first day with AYSA. If you can't see, I'm throwing with the older fire girls thinking, one day, that's going to be me. And that day came. I firmly believe that once you hear what I have to say, you will without a doubt support my proposal because the facts that I provide will show that Alpharetta's current residency requirement is no longer realistic. The 07 Fire family's contribution to the city of Alpharetta is beyond comparison, and it's just the right thing to do.
Here's a quick look at our players and coaches.
To be honest, in the beginning, I just wanted to fight for the 07 Fire team, and I think there are some things that make us special and would like to ask for special consideration for our team, but this does affect other fire teams too, so that's important to think about.
We have 4 coaches. You can see that Coach Matt and Coach Christy have coached multiple seasons and levels with AYSA.
Coach Trisha, my mom, has given so much of her time to the AYSA softball program. She coached multiple seasons as well and serves on the board. She was 10U and 12U HU coordinator for many seasons, and let me tell you, that is a lot of time. You can't imagine how many times she's told me, hold on a minute, while she takes a softball call or text. She's always doing whatever she can do to help the girls. When we call North Park our second home, it's because it really is. This season, she is coordinating the junior umpire program where older fire girls like us will give back to the park by umpiring the 6U and 8U rec games for free.
Our head coach, Sal Barsha, has coached multiple seasons for AYSA over a 14-year period, even coaching after he no longer had a daughter on the team after his daughter graduated high school. He served on the board as well as he was more than a coach to the girls on his previous teams and is still in their lives today. I'll let you read this for a moment.
Oh, you know they're reading it because it's not home. So true. So many life lessons you learn from your coach and your teammates. Okay. Let's talk specifically about 07 Fire for a minute. Out of 12 families, we have 12 parents that have coached for AYSA. I've done several bunting and sliding clinics for the younger teams with my mom and Kelly, even on her birthday, because where else would we rather be than at the softball park? All of our players have volunteered in various ways for the AYSA program. We participate in the yearly Old Soldiers' Day parade, and we don't mind paying our non-resident fees to have a home where we play. And so far, at least 50% of our team is signed up for the junior umpire program that's just getting started. After growing up there my whole life, playing for AYSA, and now being told we might not be able to play and represent Alfred anymore, it just hurts my heart.
You can see here that when our team was established, we were in compliance with the 50% rule. In this upcoming season, with the same girls but no MOU, we would not be. Here's something you should know.
All of my teammates, not just 2 or 3 or even 7, but all of my teammates have come up through AYSA. In fact, between rec, all-stars, and travel seasons, would you like to guess how many seasons we've played? We've played a total of 139 seasons. It's crazy, right? I mean, I'm having a hard time processing that.
Here's a breakdown for our team by city, just in case you're curious. In general, there's a higher number of seasons and higher percentage coming from the Milton players. Here's a quick look at the current Fire teams from 2006 to 2010 birth years. There are 2 06 teams. All 6 teams were compliant. Due to the expired MOU, though, for the upcoming seasons, only 1 team is compliant. 2 teams have already decided they will have to leave the park, and our team could be forced to do also, as well as 08 and maybe 09.
Don't worry, I'm almost done. I will summarize the next few slides. I provided facts about the lack of girls to field feeder and high school teams in Alpharetta to emphasize the fact that 50% is an unreasonable number to field a travel team from one birth year. I pointed out some phrases from these mission statements and said I would come back to the core values at the top. I reviewed some of the points about our team, our contributions, etc. Then I offered them solutions, such as changing the percentage, taking AYSA participation into consideration, and the main one that I thought would be the easiest quick fix for now would be to permanently grandfather Mellon players whose teams were in compliance when formed last year. They can be grandfathered as residents for the rule, but still pay the non-resident fee. I found an old proposed amendment of theirs and edited it for the rule that I wanted them to change, and I told them that this would allow all the current players to continue to play. I think this is a perfect fix because it would be a great compromise for us kids now while they consider making changes for the future, like lowering the percentage, taking multiple AYSA seasons into consideration, and or when Milton and Alpharetta have another MOU agreement. I ended my presentation with this. Remember those core values?
Service, excellence, integrity, loyalty, and stewardship.
I'll admit, I had to look up stewardship, the protection of something considered worth caring for and preserving. I have learned many of these values both on and off the field. A travel team must be made up of players with strong principles and work ethic to be able to excel. We worked our tails off to make this team. Our coaches and families have gone beyond in service and loyalty to the city of Alpharetta. The only option for our team to meet residency requirement is for our coach to cut one of the non-residents. After 20 seasons with AYSA, I have too much integrity and loyalty to hope that one of my teammates get cut to ensure my position on the team. So as sad as it would be, I will hang up my fire jersey and walk away, hand in hand with my entire team. Please don't make us go. Let us continue to represent Alpharetta. We're worth caring for and preserving. Let us play ball. I think that I made an impression on them with the information I presented, and they felt that I made good points, and one man stated this should be about the girls playing softball and having those opportunities, and they all seemed to agree. They are taking my presentation to their upcoming workshop to work on creating a motion amendment or some kind of temporary solution to bring to City Council to vote. And that's fantastic, and hopefully something great will happen. But if you think about it, they don't have to do anything. I think I gave them good reasons why they should, and I feel very confident about that, but I'm technically a Milton resident and should have access to this at my own parks or through an MOU agreement like before. The City of Milton currently has baseball, football, lacrosse, and soccer, but no softball. There are also no softball fields in the current park plans. There is no agreement between the cities, means Milton pays 75% more for the registration fees. No agreement between the cities means that residents don't count as Alpharetta residents, or Milton residents don't count as Alpharetta residents. Travel teams are out of compliance and will be forced to cut Milton players or leave the park and go elsewhere. Travel teams who don't cut Milton players will have to find another organization to play for, which will take them further away from their homes, costing Milton residents more time, more gas, and increase each family's cost due to field usage fees.
These are the 18 cities located in Fulton County. The highlighted ones are the ones from Atlanta going north. Mountain Park is not highlighted because it has less than 600 residents.
Looking at Fulton County cities, Milton is the only suburb north of Atlanta with a population greater than 2,000 that does not offer youth softball.
There are hundreds of parks, programs, and associations that offer youth softball in the state of Georgia. Way too many to list.
There are hundreds of cities with softball around Georgia. Some cities you've probably never heard of and much smaller than Milton.
And there are even more travel teams throughout the state.
But Milton, even though it is one of the highest rated places to live, is not on one of these pages. So what's a girl to do? It's obvious what an important role AYSA North Park plays in our lives because it's our home park, and without it, we don't have a place to play. It's also obvious that Alpharetta needs the Milton residents to complete their teams because without them, they are not compliant. I intend to play softball in college, and I need to continue to develop, and that can only happen at the travel level. Other girls on my team have the same aspiration, and we deserve to continue playing together and growing towards that dream. Milton doesn't have a softball park to offer now. Alpharetta does, and we're okay with that. What the city of Milton can do is provide their residents access to competitive levels of softball again through an agreement with the city of Alpharetta. I'm not going to pretend to understand all the economic complications, but the bottom line is that I believe it is a Title IX violation to not have it, and an agreement with Alpharetta would solve your problem and ours. I've laid the groundwork by presenting to Alpharetta and now presenting to you, and now I need you to please get back to the negotiating table and fight for us Milton residents. Thank you for your time.
Do you have any questions?
Wow, ladies. First off, thank you. I didn't say it when you began. We're all staring down and you're looking at the top of our heads because we're watching the screens in front of us at our desktop. So that was no disrespect to the both of you, but an incredible presentation. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Excellent job.
Moms, and I'm sure dads should be very proud of their young girls. Lots of thoughts going through my head. I was a president of Hopewell Baseball for a long time, so I certainly understand from where you come, but I'll turn to my peers and see about questions before I start inserting thoughts or ideas.
I'll first comment. First of all, great presentation. I give you two a lot of credit. I only hope one day my daughters grow up to be as brave as you and well-spoken and well articulating your thoughts so passionately. So congratulations. Job incredibly well done. You all bring up some really good points. I just think back at the time when the MOU was dissolved, it was not an easy decision, even for, I think, this group of people, to make recommendations because there are unintended consequences and there is collateral damage. And you kind of indicated in here there are economic impacts and there's larger decisions that are made for certain reasons. And unfortunately, it impacted a lot of people, particularly those in Milton. I'd like to think the decision was made for a greater good, and hopefully that money that we were spending will be reinvested into the community to have softball fields and other athletic fields in the future. But your points are well made, and if nothing else, what I take from it is, you know what, where do we stand with Alpharetta? Where is the MOU? How are negotiations going? It's worthy of me picking up the phone tomorrow to my council member to inquire. So again, congratulations, nice job. I would be curious, what was Alpharetta's feedback? Did they give any comments upon presenting?
They were also saying similar things as well, like, well, great job about the whole entire presentation, and it's amazing that we were brave enough to do it.
Yeah, they're just pretty much saying the same stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully that spurs action on their end, as it will on ours, and hopefully the two cities can find an amendable solution.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice job.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Other comments?
Actually, I just dittoing what Phil says, but I want you to know that we actually more recently, in all these conversations that we've had, this person over here, Jason, actually is brought up the fact that softball needs to be our priority. And that actually was something that was brought up quite a long time ago before COVID. This is our second meeting getting back, and there's lots of movement. On field space is an issue, and we deal with that all the time. But softball, I believe, where was it in our ranking? It was number 1, wasn't it? So softball was actually number 1 in our push that we noticed isn't here. I don't know where we came up. We haven't really solved what we're going to do with that, but it is a priority, the number 1 priority.
I think you brought up a lot of good points. I think the one solution that you did have that you presented to Alpharetta was something that I think this board, we dealt with, was it last year with a baseball team? We grandfathered a team for the same situation. So I think hopefully for at least the short term for you guys, that they do come to that kind of resolution, because we thought it was in the best interest of the team. Same as you're presenting here. I mean, to reiterate what Joey said, I think softball is a priority from this board's perspective. The problem is field space and where we put it. And I think, the more people like you guys and other teams that voice their opinion to find space is what we need. Right now, we've got a lot of green space, not a lot of active space, and we need to be able to put more fields in, whether they're softball fields, soccer fields, football fields, you name it. Lacrosse fields, I know we have those too. But I think your presentation was well put together, and my son's 2 years younger than you guys, and I don't think he could ever do anything like this in 2 years. I mean, I might be completely wrong, say girls mature quicker, but you guys did an amazing job. So really, really good job.
Thank you.
I'll certainly echo an awesome job, and as it's already been said, softball is something that we have as a priority here. It was the first thing that I noticed, that we didn't have matching sports for baseball to softball in our offering, and we have talked of solutions and how we can do that. So it is definitely a priority to us on this board, and we will continue to keep that and see if there's a way we can help you girls out, right? And hopefully they come back with that grandfather, but it does put a push to us to help that out.
Yeah, I've been on this board a long time, girls, 10 years maybe. Field space is a problem in every sport, even facilities. We don't have enough basketball courts. We don't have enough tennis courts. We can go down a long list. That's not your problem. Totally understand that. But there was a really strong effort by your elected officials, members of this park board, staff, to nudge the city of Alpharetta to the negotiating table to come through solutions as the MOU was expiring. And they weren't as willing to continue to have meetings and continue that discussion. So I think you made a really brave and bold move to go to Alpharetta first and say, it's your problem. You created this. The city of Milton's been waiting to negotiate, and they've been unwilling to negotiate. So that's a good first step. So now they hear it, and politics is a fascinating thing for elected officials when they put names to faces and issues. I'm sure there's been a lot of discussions that have happened since your first meeting. I'm hopeful that the city of Alpharetta will do the right thing in the near term, which sounds to me like maybe grandfathering is probably the quickest solution. And I never thought in the 23 years I've lived here that we would worry about having two different softball programs, because AYSA was so good at what they did, just as NAFL is so good at what they do in boys football. There was really no reason to have competing programs and dividing the cities and diluting the talent pool. Because now if we build a girls softball program, if we could get that path, find field space, money for fields, et cetera, now we're going to create an 07 Milton team, and there'll be an 07 Alpharetta team. And perhaps it's not as good as a team that you play with the best of the best from both cities. So there are a lot of factors in play in all of this. But our job is to make recommendations to council. We give them advice. You've spoken to the Alpharetta. Did you speak to their parks board or to their council? To their council? Or was it their part? Was it their rec board? Oh, so
The Rec Commission.
great.
Chairman.
So to their rec commission, so they get a chance to put a fire on it. I would expect out of this meeting that Tom and Mr. Rogers at Alpharetta will have some discussions, particularly after your presentation day, and there'll be a little discussion among staff about where does it go. Like Phil, I think for all of us, here comes the rain. Love our building, but it's got a tin roof. I would encourage all of us as Parks Board members to speak up to our elected officials on this issue, just like all of our other issues, to keep them involved, because at the end of the day, the elected officials make these decisions. We just give them some advice. So I think...
Do you have any advice on when you were at Hopewell? I remember you talking about you'd go to council meetings.
Oh, no. So I think, so where it goes next is council's going to react. So when I was president of Hopewell, I came to a lot of council meetings. And I did this kind of presentation, and I spoke at public comment, and I was that little pearl that rubbed, or that piece of grain of sand that rubbed the pearl quite a bit. We'll see the reaction we get from our elected officials, but I would expect that we'd probably want to go to a meeting at some point, and have you present directly to the council with your solutions, particularly after we get a read of what Alpharetta's thinking. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a reasonable next step. This would be a good discussion. Your argument is well fact-based. Certainly, there was no sleight of hand to disregard girls softball when we built this program, but we didn't need softball when Milton was formed in 2012 because we had Alpharetta's softball program. We need fields of every shape right now, and for a lot of sports, rectangles and diamonds and softball fields and baseball fields. The council knows they've got a list from us of what is our wish list that we recommended to them for where they should spend money if they've got it. So I know that I'll be following up with my sponsor and Mr. Longoria and talking a little bit about, where are we with our movement on that front. So stay tuned, and I'm sure that Tom will be back in touch with you, and we'll see what the next steps happen on this. So thanks again for your time this evening, your enthusiastic presentation, and really proud of you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thomas, was there any public comment on this topic? I didn't.
There is no public comment.
Okay, thank you. Great. Well, thanks, ladies. Stay dry
Thanks.
on your walk outside. All right. Next item of business is to return to committee reports. Well, baseball. Who wants to speak up on that? Thank you again. Have Esteban here. Thomas, you want to share anything about?
I'm going to need you to speak in the mic a little louder. The rain is
Hopewell baseball.
tearing my hearing.
Hopewell baseball. Do you have a since Esteban's not here?
Yeah, so the evaluations were completed last weekend for the rec program. They should be starting next week. They're putting together practice schedules now. And, the travel team started this week. I haven't gotten numbers yet. I think they're good for COVID times. I think they might be a hair down. Don't quote me on that, but all the travel side looks good, and I think they're a little down in rec, but I will know that for sure come next month.
Super. Thanks, Tom. I'm going to have to yell loud.
I know I can hear you, but it was troublesome.
Yeah, I'm not hearing you through the
Microphone system.
microphone.
We're old, Tom. Most of us are.
My Eagle Sticks colleagues, Joey and Jason, you got something to...
Well, yeah, real quick for Eagle Sticks, and this is real early. Numbers are the highest they've been in ever. And something really neat, I don't know if it's finalized, but through last year's conversations back and forth, there are new uniforms that are going to say City of Milton. Tom, have they been finalized? Because I don't know if they have been, but one of them that I saw looked kind of cool. But so it'll say City of Milton. That'll be kind of neat.
Anything to add? Okay, good. NFL football. Sean Michael.
They started practice about 3 weeks ago. I believe their first sets of games are this weekend. So that's about it, really.
Phil, halftime sports. Any updates there?
No update in terms of numbers and enrollment, but I did get a call from Kim with regards to where does things stand with regards to our recommendations that we put forth to council. Timely presentation. I don't know if we addressed that, Mr. Chairman, in other business, but I did get a call with him, and I did mention I would share that with the Parks and Rec Board as well as my own council member who I'm playing phone tag with. But if that's something maybe we can address in other business, great.
We'll move it to other business. We'll make sure we talk about there. Yeah, Dave's not here, so tennis and swim I'll pass on. We'll carry a report for next month, and I have nothing to report for arts programming for the moment. So that concludes our committee reports. Next item of unfinished business is the Wall of Fame, and it looks like Tom is in some AV issues. Pause.
Yeah, I think we're sorting something out with the online. I don't even know if our mics are working anymore.
It's not on.
Okay. Can you hear that?
No.
I apologize. It looks like on our end we were having some issues with the audio.
Can't even hear you. I hear yours.
We're having some issues with the audio, so we're just going to keep moving, and hopefully one of the two recordings will work. Looks like Zoom's giving us some trouble. Are we on the Wall of Fame?
Yep.
All right. I got all of the ballots. I think I'm missing one. And once I get that back, I'll do all the calculations. And as soon as I get them all in and calculate them, I'll just send them out to you guys so that we're ready for next month to reach out to those nominees that are getting on the wall. And we'll go from there. Any questions on that portion of the Wall of Fame?
I know last year, didn't we do some sort of ceremony at Bell Memorial? Did we thought about what we want to do this year, maybe?
About a date?
I don't have a date yet. Last year we did it November.
Yeah, we did it like around
Championship
HOA Day for baseball.
Yep.
Lacrosse, somewhere in.
We can certainly pencil that day in again if we want, once we get the schedule from HOA.
Yeah. Okay.
Somewhere around the end of baseball. There might be a crowd.
Yeah, I think it was close to the last Saturday or something like that. Yeah.
Championship Day, that type of thing.
Are we going to go? What is the Wall of Fame? Pushing that till next month.
Yeah, we'll come back with next month.
Okay.
The next item is new business.
Hang on, Mr. Chairman. I have one more thing.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to discuss, I know in past meetings we had discussed changing the criteria for the questions.
Yeah.
If we can come up with, the specifics of what you guys want to know to help you guys to make it easier on you, so we don't have those 2-page nominations. You can let me know what those are, and then we will go ahead and make that change. I'm just looking for some guidance on what specific questions are you looking for, and then each question we'll knock them down to a character limit, so that we're not getting a life biography. We're just kind of getting the important information.
Is there already? I haven't looked at the online, I guess, submission portal for it. But is there already kind of like a guidelines on Is it, do you have to have played at Bell or in the city of Milton or just been part of the program, whether it was through volunteer work or?
There is criteria.
There are? Okay.
There's detailed criteria for the nomination. The question is, those being nominated don't have any guidance around if we're going to kind of channel their input.
And that's what I was getting at, just saying kind
Right.
of like to go along with those criteria to kind of maybe the questions that we ask kind of go through that and say, whether it's, what years did you play at Bell?
Right.
So maybe the next step, Tom, will be send us the criteria after this meeting, and then we'll review them, not with the idea that we're changing them, but perhaps that'll prompt us to send you questions to help guide the input.
And then we can just do a thread of emails and knock it out.
And then we can bring that to the next meeting and give it a thumbs up or down.
So I actually had to call Tom today, and last time I've called Jim twice to just make sure, am I missing something out of one of the candidates?
Yep.
Rather than having to ask the question and find out, oh, yes. So, yeah.
So we don't ask questions today. It's just free form.
Open-ended.
It's open-ended, yeah.
Right.
And
Character limit.
the issue that it came out last week,
I guess that much.
we saw some people that, he does a great job. He gives 110% and coaches teams, and that's it. People had, photography there.
Right. So
And
we'll
it's just-
give.
So we want to get some folks from direction.
Makes sense. Makes
Here are
sense.
2 or 3 times of questions to answer that allows us,
Yeah.
I need to make a decision on someone who actually may have all those criteria.
Well, exactly.
It just
We're
didn't get
making
in there.
The decisions that we're making on one sentence,
Right.
I will tell you, for me, are tough to put up there.
Yeah.
Maybe, but so maybe a lot of other people.
Yeah.
Right.
110%.
Fair enough. Okay. Anything else, Tom?
Nothing else on the wall thing.
Okay. I know we got 2 visitors joined us, and I'm going to guess you want to talk about softball.
Yeah, I can't hear a thing yourself.
Sorry.
So we missed the new business aspect. Well, yes. Yeah, they already spoke. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of add to
We want to speak on the Alfred softball.
Yeah.
Let me get a comment card.
We need to get you a comment card. You need to give us your name and your address. As is often the case, as meetings start and people are here, we take people and move their item on the agenda so they don't have to sit here for 30 minutes to get to their item.
Oh, no, that's great.
Move the girls up.
That's great.
Right
no,
to
and
the
I
start.
appreciate it. And I'm sorry we dropped in last minute, but I got last minute notice on the meeting. So
All right. So when you're done speaking, Tom's got a card for the public record to capture your name and your addresses. But if you would just state them for us, and we'll give you a few minutes to share your comments with us.
excellent. Thank you. I appreciate you making time. I'm Randy Cochran. This is Tim Johnson. And, basically, I've been working with the girls softball, and Tim has as well, out of Alpharetta Park, at North Park since my daughter was 5. She's now 10. And I think you've been doing about the same, right? Same time frame. So we got put in our daughters are good ball players, and we found a group of girls that really love the sport. And the idea is that we took a group of girls, made an all-star team out of them when they were 8, took them to a travel league within the Alpharetta Fire Organization. And as, I don't know if you guys are aware, but I guess there was some political issues between Alpharetta, City of Milton. We were grandfathered in at that park for one more year until we had to meet residency restrictions within the girls on our team. So we had to have, for those of you that are not familiar, Alpharetta requires that 50% of the girls on the team come from Alpharetta. I had one girl on my team from the city of Alpharetta. Everybody else was from Milton. And we carried about 12 kids. We were faced with the unfortunate decision this year that we had to leave the park because there was no way I was going to be able, and Tim was going to be able to field our 10-year-old team without cutting girls that live in Milton. So we were going to be forced to take girls off the team that deserved to be there, and because they didn't live in the right zip code, we couldn't play there anymore. And I didn't think that was fair. The girls worked hard. They did a really good job. They continue to work hard. And so we decided to join a different organization that's a 501c3. It's called Georgia Fire. The founder lives here in Milton, and it's been around in existence for 20 plus years. We looked at a lot of different places, but we joined them because of a lot of the things that the values line up with what we want to teach the girls for sports and life. And the idea is that we want to keep this core group of girls together. There's 8 girls now, one of which lives in Cherokee County in Canton. The other 7 live here in Milton. And then we've picked up 3 additional players to give us a large enough roster to play, and we've got one more that potentially is going to come on board. That being said, for the last month, I've been in communication with the City of Milton's offices to try to find field space. I reached out to Alpharetta initially to just say, look, I'll pay you, let us continue at that park, but I'll pay you whatever you want. And the answer was absolutely not, because we don't live in Alpharetta. I called Forsyth County. Sorry, you don't have enough kids from Forsyth County. Cherokee, same thing. So my only option is to be here in Milton. The problem is that I've asked for the last month to be accommodated, and I'm being told that the boys get the preference with all the field space. And it's not that their office hasn't been communicative or anything like that. They've been very good with me. But I think that the girls deserve fair consideration. And all I'm asking for is for one 10-year-old softball team to be able to have 2 days a week to be on a field somewhere. And I got offered to go down behind the middle school down at Hopewell. And okay, that's fine. But why do the boys get to play on a grass infield in a minor league stadium, in my estimation? I played Division I college baseball. He played at Ohio State for lacrosse. So we know what good fields look like. We've been on those good fields. The facilities are fantastic here, but there's no accommodations for the girls. And to say that the guys get preference, we're walking a real tightrope there. And I'm not going to throw out the word that everybody's thinking right now, but we're walking a real fine line. And I want to do this the right way. I've tried to do it the right way. You had these girls come in here earlier. Their team had to leave our park too, I believe, if it's the same team. There's 2 other teams that are having to leave Alpharetta as well. So it's really unfortunate. And I would have had more of my parents here tonight if I'd have known about this meeting, more than 90 minutes beforehand. They were nice enough to tell me here at the offices that it was going on. But it's really frustrating to me that the girls are not getting the same level. And it comes down to a political battle, right? That's really what it came down to, is dollars and cents and political battle and people butting heads and not being able to come to an agreement. And I understand that. But there was no plan B. And what I'm asking is, let's try to figure out a plan B and do it pretty expeditiously, because truthfully, I know everybody's had a lot to do with COVID and all that kind of good stuff, and I get it. But that should have been in the works when we saw that we were going down this path with Alpharetta. You got anything?
No, I mean, that's pretty much you summed it up. And I don't think we're asking for a lot. We're just asking for maybe one field, that we could have maybe at Bell Memorial. There's 4 fields up there. Maybe just one girls softball field. Find some, accommodate that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm being told that it's booked up on a Sunday from 12 to 6 for your travel programs for the boys' baseball.
All 4 fields for 6 straight hours on a Sunday. And that's not true, because I go up there all the time and run and walk my dogs, and those fields are hardly used on Sundays.
Right.
So to tell us that, at least come up with something else. And like he's saying, if it's a boy-girl thing, it's a road you don't want to go down.
Well, and the thing is, too, is that we work out at Windward Baseball in the wintertime, which is where Hopewell goes. So Howie McCann always finds a place for us. And that's all we're asking for, is the same consideration in a city that these girls, this is home. This is where they want to be. They want to stay together. And the coaches are here. We're all residents. We're all taxpayers. And I'm sorry that the planning didn't line up with what happened. But I think that to be asked to shift the schedule around or make some a little bit of an accommodation for what we got 11 girls.
Well, and to go back to what Randy was saying earlier too, is he's made some phone calls and he was told, oh yeah, you can rent. We'll rent it. We have no problem paying for it.
Yep.
But when a month goes by, this was a month of planning this, and then he's told, well, boys have priority and it's booked up for 6 hours. I got a problem with that.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with them getting priority on the rec league level, because I understand what that looks like, right? Rec league is the priority. But when we start talking travel ball, that's an extension. It's different, and I hope that none of you guys have anybody that's playing travel ball and take offense to this. But then when we're all in the same travel platform, it should be all consideration. We should be in a lottery, and then we get to choose what's left over for practice times. Not, hey, they just get to block this off.
So I appreciate you guys coming this evening and sharing with us your input. Public comment is, I should have said this at the beginning, City Council reads a script. Public comment's a chance to give public comment.
Sure.
So I won't have a debate about it, or I don't want to debate it. Your point is well taken. You don't know that you're talking to a former president of Hopewell, so I have a little bit of knowledge about how scheduling works and how the fields work and how travel programs work, and a great respect for what coaches do. But I know in this role that I've been in Parks and Rec, on this board, and in my time at Hopewell, I can't tell you how many coaches show up, boys or girls, that just want to rent field space because they swear there's openings out there. And I know that in ongoing battles, you do it for one team, and now I've got, a can of worms because I don't have a criteria for who gets next access. I know there's a city policy about renting field space. I'm sure Tom's communicated that to you guys. To be clear about, it's not to lock in a field space every week. It's much less because the field spaces are given to our partner programs. For years, the City of Milton's had a partnership with Alpharetta. And as I told the girls from the fire team earlier, it's a travesty on Alpharetta's side that they didn't negotiate and continue to negotiate with us in good faith around what the MOU would look like as these downstream consequences were coming. So your point's well taken. I know Tom's made us aware of it as well. So we will continue to talk with our elected officials. Part of this is a city policy issue, not just, we're an advisory board to the council. We're not decision makers for this city, but we can certainly give them some input of our input. So I appreciate your comments this evening. When you're done, I'll make sure you fill out a card so we know how to reach you afterwards. But I thank you for your time.
Where can we find each one of your contact information so I can have the parents start reaching out to you guys?
Yeah, it's all available on the website.
The new website has all the emails.
Yeah, we're all listed there. So the elected officials are listed there as well, Randy. So it's very easy to reach us.
Yeah, we'll expect a lot of emails and expect a lot of attention coming to this, because I understand that there's city policy involved. But again, we've had plenty of time to look at the city policy and make adjustments when we knew that was going sideways with Alpharetta.
Yeah. No, thank you. Well, appreciate it. Thanks, Randy. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. I think are we back online, or can I actually hear myself, Tom?
I think the rain
helped.
Really hurt us.
So let's move to the second item of new business, the Junior Park Ranger Program.
Junior Park Rangers. This was something that a City of Milton staff member actually forwarded to Tom and I, and we thought we'd just bring it to your attention. It seemed like a fun activity that might be a future possibility to bring to the Parks and Rec program. What the Junior Ranger Program is, it's an interactive program aimed towards kids to get them engaged in the resources and activities offered in their city parks.
Hey, Thomas, 1 second. This was a program that was started by Roanoke, Virginia, their Parks and Rec department, and I was forwarded an article, and I thought it was kind of cool. So, it's just this what he's about to read is, or tell you about, is just their version of this. We can craft our own, however you want it. But I apologize, Thomas.
No problem. And just to summarize a little bit from the project leader in Roanoke, their hope is that their junior rangers can teach people about the great parks where they live, and the wildlife and plant life, and also educate one another, as well as become stewards to other people who are raising a younger generation, to then protect all the outdoor assets that they have, or that we would have in the city of Milton. The target age for them is between 4 and 12, but they don't turn anyone away.
Thanks for your time.
Some of the activities includes going on hikes, taking a tree tour, looking for animals, visiting certain number of parks, plazas, rec centers, greenways. It's basically completing tasks, so you complete a number of tasks. You then take quizzes because there's an education factor to it. You earn badges and certificates, and eventually earn your title as a Roanoke Junior Ranger or a Milton Junior Ranger. So we thought it was a fun idea. It's something we just run by you guys and see if, kind of your thoughts. So
I think it's great. All of our national parks do it, and you can do it through any national park and get a stamp and a badge and a whole thing for it, and it's a little workbook that you complete. I think it's a great way to do it across our city and familiarize kids with, and probably more importantly, parents with all of the things that are available in our city, right? Because they're toting their kids around to do it and don't know the great resources that we have. I think it's awesome.
Who facilitates it? Are there city resources needed, or is this like self-managed? How do you operationalize this?
I believe it's all done within the city's Parks and Rec department. I don't think it's done from outside groups.
Okay.
It's a program that was created by the department and managed and run by the department.
By the department.
And
I could envision,
after the initial lifting, I think it should be pretty easy, right? At least from a national park standpoint, you go up and say, "Can I have the stuff for the Parks and Rec?" And I'm sure the Junior Ranger program, they give you the workbook, you go complete it, you come back, they ask you a question or two, and you get your badge, right? And get your patch and things. I would think there'd probably be some online component. Again, the initial lifting, yes, probably pretty intensive, but once it's up.
Yep.
Would think it was.
And then you get your badge and you walk around the park, make sure everyone's cleaning up after their dogs. And
I wish. But
I mean, you can envision this being something where, people who get it could be honored at a meeting here, right? And get post-COVID time.
I was thinking you might.
If I'm the first one, would you guys recognize me at this meeting?
Exempt.
You'd be our first junior park ranger.
Yes.
But I could envision.
You're 12.
I could envision
that's right, there's an age range.
maybe a volunteer in the community that would want to help staff and might have some interest in parks and might want to do coordination-like efforts. Maybe there's somebody out there in that genre that could take a little bit of staff time off of you guys and manage it. The other, as you were describing it, Thomas, the other thing that came to mind is, all the green space preserve-like parks fit into this model really nicely. And I know we're still going down naming ideas before we've even gotten into construction ideas, but it seems to me that there'd be a nice synergy between this kind of a program and parks that are coming online.
Yeah.
So that maybe there's maybe the timing is not right now, but it's to kind of look at it as those parks lead to their activation. Maybe somebody comes out of those projects who really cares about one more than the other, and maybe each park's got its own volunteer leader. I don't know, but I think it's a neat idea. I think we need some more. We could try and start with Birmingham. You could think about what it would look like. I mean, you guys could run with it, and if you need a motion from us to go research a little bit, and it sounds like a lot of us are for it. Maybe we.
Yeah, I would entertain that.
Can it be something done in conjunction with the trails group? I mean, besides, like you said, you can go to Birmingham Park, but I would think a hiking trail or something like that would be a good area to, find certain things that these kids would look for. Or,
I mean, for the moment, you got Providence and Birmingham as two perfectly great passive parks that this kind of program could be active in.
But even at Bell, you have where they list out what the trees are and give you a little information about it, and the signs over off Wood Road. There's probably some
maybe you got to get a badge per park.
There you go.
So that way people will get to all the different ones. They're looking for different things or something.
Yeah, that could be the way, and then you get the whole thing. Lots of different ways to set it up, and again.
So
Phil's going to be Phil's in. I can see him.
Man, my wheels are spinning right now.
Yeah.
I like it.
So our guy that designed.
I think you got a volunteer there, Tom.
Tom is our volunteer. Phil's got it.
So it sounds like interest on our behalf to support at least to outline or flesh out some details of what it might look like.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
You've got our full support to bring this back to a next meeting.
Do you need us to make a motion, or you just?
I can just leave it on unfinished business.
Yeah, because it's going to come back to us.
We can continue on researching how this could potentially
Yeah,
look.
what other cities have done, some structure kind of points. Yeah, no, but I think it's a great idea.
I do too. I like it.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for everybody and bringing it forward. Next item on the agenda is staff reports and communications. Gentlemen, educate us.
Okay, I'll start, and I'll let Thomas jump in where he might know more than me, particularly this first item. We signed an agreement with Wellsong Tai Chi, and it's doing great. They filled up a class in like 2 days and opened another one, and that one had 5 registrations when it caps at 8. So I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention, that we've got a program that's outside of athletics that's kind of taken off right from the start.
Where's it being done? Where's it held?
It's being held at Broadwell Pavilion and then Bethel Community Center.
Huh.
Awesome.
Great.
Yep. So there's between 5 and 8 people at each class. And actually there is a third one too that they're finishing up from the rentals, right? There was a class that isn't the one at Broadwell, the one. Yeah, so there was a rental where they had rented our facilities back in March, and they got cut short. And I think that's the one at Broadwell, right? And so it is also one that's finishing up with a full class too. So they're doing great things,
Awesome.
and we're happy to report that. Just wanted to give an update on Bell Park, and I want to give some props to Triscapes, our maintenance contractors. Baseball, with the spring season going into the summer, we had, I think it was like 9 business days to get the fields, what would usually we would do over the whole summer. They had 9 days to revamp the fields, get the lips all fixed, cut the straight edges out, and I don't know how they did it. But the fields look darn good for how much time they had. I haven't gotten any negative feedback from any of the baseball players and teams. Is it perfect? No, but I'll tell you what, it looks good. The last thing is just wanted to give you guys an update. The last council meeting, the adult soccer program was voted in as the contract was approved. And so this week I've started working with Rush Union, specifically Neil McNabb, who's the director over there, the executive director, to start seeing how it looks. I've gotten some preliminary schedules from lacrosse, and we're going to work around that lacrosse schedule and hopefully, it looks like we're going to have some field space. The boys program kind of took a little bit of a hit, it looks like, on numbers for lacrosse. So there's some space at Cox Road that they certainly could utilize. So that's where we are there. Not too much else to report. There is another item that isn't on the list, but I'd like to talk about. Mr. Johnson last month brought up a great point regarding, what are we going to do if, the coronavirus and COVID-19 start running through the programs? And, how is the city going to respond? That got my wheels turning instantly. So thanks for that. Between myself and Thomas and the emergency manager here at the city, we have come up with an additional guideline that goes on top of what our programs have sent to us. And I actually used the NAFL model as part of it in their guidelines. They actually had a liaison that was appointed that all the families, if there was a positive case, they wouldn't have to let the coach and teams and all that know, especially if they wanted to become private, keep that private. So there's a liaison for each group that will get sent the information that gets forwarded to us. I'm not particularly into who it is per se, but I'd like to know, but it's required to tell me, the age group and the team that the person was on. And at that point, myself, Matt Marietta, and Thomas the emergency manager, we can, it's going to be a fluid situation. And that was the recommendation from the emergency manager that, we don't just suddenly decide, okay, 2 kids, shut it down, because, one of those kids could have been out of town for 2 weeks, contracted it there, and there wasn't any contact with the rest of the team. Mm-hmm. So we're taking it on a case-by-case basis. I would be inclined to think that if there were positive cases, I'm sure the likelihood that they were out of town is, not very likely. But for us to just say, okay, 2 cases, shut the team down, or 1 case, shut the team down, we wanted to just kind of have some flexibility there for the program's sake, for the family's sake, and so that's how we're going to handle it. And I'd like to thank Mr. Johnson for bringing that to our attention. I feel like it kind of covers us a little bit more, and it will also ensure that we're made aware of what's going on with the programs.
Awesome. While you were having AV issues earlier, Phil brought up the question about recommendations going forward into basketball on the same topic of COVID and what we think that may or may not look like. Have you guys had any discussions
internally?
Yeah.
As far as basketball, no. At this point, we're not canceled. We're looking to move forward. It's public knowledge now. Alpharetta did cancel their winter program. And they're not doing any basketball, adult or youth. I got that word earlier this week. That doesn't mean we have to do that. Basketball's an indoor sport where there's a lot of contact. So that's something we'll, as time goes on, we'll have to probably evaluate as cases go up and down. And but as of right now, there has been no firm decision made. We are very strapped for gym space. Fulton County Schools are, at this point, not letting us in. They're not letting anybody in, for that matter, so it's not anything against us. So that in itself would already create a big challenge. Alpharetta canceling and us not canceling with the amount of gyms we would have without Fulton County, I'm not sure how you'd run a program. But Mr. Coleman is very creative, and
what's the start date for basketball?
Evaluations are usually end of October, and then practices start the first week in November, and then games start in December.
So we got 30, 45 days.
This is for winter.
To play with.
Winter. Yeah, there's a fall program they're going to try to do. Yeah. There's a fall program they're going to try to do because it's a small program.
Yeah.
But the real concern is winter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we got time on our side a little bit.
Are you saying that Fulton County is not letting us in to their gyms for the foreseeable future, or is this?
I can't answer that question with any confidence.
Right.
Yeah.
But
right
for now
we're
not getting in.
What's that?
For now, they're not getting in there.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah. I can tell you, Jason might know, do you guys get any of the Cambridge information from the school? They had a case at their football program.
Yeah.
And they did shut down the program for 2 weeks to identify possibly having been around the other players. My youngest daughter is going to fellowship, and they had an issue where they identified one kid that had been around someone, the other they knew had not. So they didn't have to shut down programs, but identifying a person who has it, being around an entire team, might actually. You were saying one kid shutting down. Well, if they've been around the other kids, then the safety of it would be, hey, let's see what happens for the next 2 weeks, for sure. You just hope that parents are making some good decisions when they notice their kids might be sick. So,
yes, and that's I'm on North Metro directors meetings once a week now. They went from monthly to weekly, and and that's
kids are kids.
That's a fear,
Yeah,
coaches, star quarterback, comes down with it.
Yep.
You never know. I mean,
right.
The good news of all of it, maybe limited good news, is that there's at least a little bit of time before decisions related to our basketball program. The rest of it is coffee talk for practical step. Anything else, Thomas, for us?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Awesome. Any other business, gentlemen?
I have to say that those two girls did fantastic.
Oh, that was great.
And I was unaware that Alpharetta was putting a halt to the percentages.
Well, I mean, they've got the same percentages we have.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, I didn't know that they hadn't grandfathered it in for any of the kids that had been there. I didn't know.
We did agree to fund the out-of-city fee for softball.
For 1 year.
For 1 year. But
Right.
that still should be going this year, right? That was just this.
I think it's this year.
That was this year, right?
I can confirm with you guys on that.
Yeah. I mean, I thought that was this year, and then we agreed.
But that doesn't fix the residency issue.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's not a money issue. It's a residency issue.
The first thing that I saw when that email came through was there's no issue with the fee.
It's not the money.
In fact, I'm fairly certain that in their presentation to Alpharetta, they said we'll pay the fee.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I think it was in this one too.
Okay. Yeah.
No, it was in there.
It's more of the consideration of being a resident to float that percentage.
Yep.
Thomas, have there been any more discussions with Alpharetta in regards to any revisiting of the MOU or
Not to
anything
my
to that effect?
not to my knowledge.
Your knowledge.
Alrighty. Well,
Mr. Chairman, the only other thing I asked if we could revisit the recommendation that we put forth in terms of what we put forth to the council, in terms of softball being a priority, indoor community center. I haven't heard anything since we've last presented that, or Chairman, you last presented that. I guess I'm just asking, is there anything that this advisory board can do to either, one, inquire and help pave the pathway forward to activate or put in motion activities that would otherwise lead to these recommendations?
So Steve's got it. It's sitting clearly with him. My suggestion would be, as you're contacting your council people as a result of today's meeting, that I would make that same inquiry of where are we with expanding active park space and facilities. And that's on their table. Okay. So I'll leave it at that.
And
that's what I would.
And if I could clarify, or if I could, say this, I believe when we had ranked those activities, those were rankings for what we wanted to reimburse.
Yes.
Not necessarily what we wanted to create field space for.
And I think we did both.
That's fair.
Didn't we? Didn't we put some priorities around an indoor facility, longer
Future
term,
programs.
Yep.
and future around?
Yep. There's facilities. There's fields and facilities on that list by type. I think as we gave it, but
yeah, I don't recall. I don't have it in front of me, but I don't think softball fields were.
Yeah, I don't think
one on the facility list.
On the facilities list.
But they were on the recommended
support
for the supporting of the financial non-resident fees.
Correct.
I believe that's how it was.
Yep. And so what we're left with, once again, is a advanced level team having some issue, feeling disadvantaged, and trying to draw the world to their attention. And the advanced pieces of most programs is a small. As all of them are set up, is a smaller portion than the bigger part of the recreational program, and so we're hearing from, a few. I can recall being in here 2 years ago, hearing an advanced travel team come in here and say we need to give them space at Bell. We've got a team; they're Milton residents. We need to give them space. They're not the partner program. There's a process for them to get some access to field space, but it's not regular twice a week. Field space. There, you can rent some field space, limits on how much each quarter you can get your hands on, but it'll never make them happy.
A travel team? That was a travel team.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Both of them.
Both of them were.
Both of them.
Yes.
Both of them.
Both of them.
Our fields at Bell, are they interchangeable with softball?
Not really, but for practice it probably would work.
For practice, yes, but not for game. I was just curious.
And
fields.
Yeah, they're not skinned.
I mean, I know he brought up Hopewell Middle School, and I mean, I couldn't tell you how many times for my rec teams and travel teams or the all-star teams that we practiced over there. So it's a hike to get to, but I think From what I've gathered, a lot of the other parks that we've played at when you travel around, they are those skin type infields, which can kind of go both ways. But I think that works for a softball program, especially if it's one team. And I don't know how often that Hopewell Middle School gets used. I noticed when we would practice, there wouldn't be a ton, but it just depends on, you can only get one or two because there's no lights there.
Yeah,
that's the other.
That field was always the last overflow field.
Correct. So it's a great weekend field, and nobody wants a field on a weekend because they're in a tournament somewhere. So, I mean, you start stripping away the pieces, and it's not as simple as it sounds. So we'll continue the discussion with our elected officials and staff, and we'll see where Alpharetta's head's pointing, and we'll hope that they're willing to do some good things for some good people, and we'll find some solution to this. So if there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Mr. Alberici.
Second.
A second by Sean Michael. Was that you? Or Phil?
Whatever.
Phil? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So be it. Thank you, Tom and Thomas.